So it's set by a committee who is elected. The meeting is run by the chair committee, non-elected members, because basically they're just functioning in the role to keep the meeting moving along, taking minutes. The agenda committee, we realized they were much more important because they're gonna move things onto the agenda. So you can't have a group of people who decide, well, I don't like Bob's item over there, so we're gonna table that for a long time. You know, in fact, it went into the trash can. We forgot what Bob said. And we like Sue's item over here, so we're going to fast track that to the next meeting. We saw the dangers, so those people are elected and serve terms, 3-year staggered terms. They also have procedures for how they run the committee that have been approved by the general meeting and the board. So they have guidelines about how they entertain items to be put on their agenda. They have a mission statement to understand their role in this whole governance process, because they've taken now a very important role. And they're independent of us, the paid staff, and they're independent of the board. So that's really important, because you don't want any activist board or any activist staff members sort of trying to influence the decision. There have been things recently that have been on our agenda that as a staff we've been horrified. Well, horrified for various reasons. Horrified in the sense that, wow, if this passed, this could really be a problem for the co-op. One was a proposal by a group of members for us to join the boycott, divestment, and sanctions movement against Israel. Now, however you feel about that personally, in Brooklyn. Yeah, let's remind everyone we're in Brooklyn. And we have a lot of Jewish members, Orthodox to very secular atheist Jews, but they're culturally Jewish. However you feel about that, does a co-op of diverse members with a voluntary and open membership decide to take a very political stance on the broader scale in which some members feel personally affronted by that? So however I personally felt about BDS, or the members that brought it forward, as a steward of the co-op, I could see this could be a disaster. And it's still playing itself out, unfortunately. There's some people that still have the grievance that it even came to the agenda. But there's no way for the agenda committee to stop it from coming to the agenda. But the fact that it even came. The other thing was, we had a proposal by the environmental committee to remove, we haven't had t-shirt bags, the carry-away bags, for 8 years now. But we still have produce bags, the bags that you use in the produce aisle, or in the bulk aisle, whatever. We had, the environmental committee wanted to get rid of all of them. Now again, however we personally as staff felt about those, and some people on staff, amongst the general coordinators, are very diligent about not taking those bags and using other alternative means. Some of us are not as diligent. It was still the idea of what would this do to the co-op. Plastic is an awful thing, yes, we can all agree that if there was less plastic in the world, that would probably be a good thing. But are these bags the worst thing in the world versus an 8-ounce container of yogurt, which has a lot more you're getting 8 ounces of yogurt, but the amount of plastic, the ratio of volume, is a lot greater with the yogurt container than with this plastic bag that might hold 2 pounds of oatmeal. So, and without that bag, how would someone who went over to the bulk bin and they said, oh shoot, I don't have any bags on me today, darn, how am I gonna buy my oatmeal? And then they say, well, okay, you can buy these muslin bags over here and they cost $1.75 each. And well, I don't really have $1.75 to now take my oatmeal home in, so that doesn't seem like an option. Or I could go over here and there's some packaged oatmeal, but then that's a package, like there's plastic or cellophane or whatever, and there's a cardboard box, so that's packed. So the person standing there, they could go, oh, I just don't buy it. So none of those, you know, are really, they're all bad choices financially for the individual, maybe for the environment on the other side, and for the co-op, if someone walks away and says, I'm not gonna buy it because I didn't bring my own plastic bag today, or I didn't bring my own muslin bag, or I didn't bring my whatever to put this in, my used bread bag or whatever, it's a bad choice for the co-op. So I have to say, we waged a pretty serious campaign against the environmental committee, which we're paying for still, because the environmental committee is very angry with us. But we didn't wage it personally against it, we waged it from a co-op perspective. And it'll come back up, I'm sure. Because plastic bags are the new nemesis around the country. But, you know.
And is that reported on in your newsletter?
Oh, yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's all there, yeah. In fact, we were, you know, yeah, that was big New York Times story, that was. We were in the public for that one. But yeah, you know, so the agenda committee has a role of advancing things, but not censoring things, not saying that item is inappropriate. They can't do that. They can help people improve their item. Like if it's badly worded or maybe not well thought out, they might say, have you gone and talked to Ann, for example, and like discuss what you want to do. Maybe she can help you understand what the co-op already does and how you want to maybe improve upon that or modify it or something in that way.
They're elected from general membership.
Yeah, they stand before this meeting and they.
In a cooperative that would be around what gets on the agenda.
Yeah, yeah, right. That's really crucial.
So are they very political roles and is there major?
No, they're actually, it's kind of interesting. They sniff out people who want to be political. I'm the liaison to that committee, so I know some of the people, and I've helped, I've received from other members, I have interest in being on the agenda committee, and I've forwarded to the committee, you know. And they really stress in the interview, they interview people, they really stress we're a neutral body. This is not a place for your personal political agendas. We serve the whole co-op. Our goal is to form an agenda that's effective for the co-op, that makes sense, that when something needs to be moved, jumped ahead of other items on the list, we do that. Or, you know, when it's a duplication of something that's happened a year ago, we will say to people, you know, this isn't, co-op decided this a year ago. We're not going to re-talk about this for a while, you know. So they are very neutral. And after this whole BDS situation, people tried to get on the committee who were favored one side or the other. And they sniffed them out right away and said, sorry. It's neutral. You can't have an agenda to be on the agenda committee. And some people didn't like that, but it's a role, they take it seriously, that they're in service to the general meeting and the board of directors. So.
I was going to ask you, with these various committees, and as we now know, they're crucial, they're critical, right? Your agenda committee, your other committee. All these people on these committees, they're all doing their 4 hours, presumably, or they're 2 3/4 hours. So, but I would imagine they're probably putting a heck of a lot of time into their committee work as well. Would that be taken? No.
The agenda committee, basically they have, for example, let me turn this back on. Sorry. The agenda committee has a set meeting time, which is advertised to the whole membership. So they meet the first Tuesday of the month at 8 p.m. at the co-op. They will accept in person any submissions, or in between time, people leave them with me or email them to an email address, and I print them out and give them to the agenda committee. They meet that night. They set the agenda that night.
All right.
Now, occasionally, a person who's put on the agenda contacts me and says, you know, I don't know, I have to go out of town. I said I'd be there at the end of the month. I can't. I just can't get out of it. And then I have to communicate back to the agenda committee to say, so-and-so withdrew, and then they will over phone or over email just decide how, you know, are we going to take someone else from the list, or are we just going to have a shorter meeting, whatever it is. But the structure of the committee is really to get the work done that night and not to make it drag out. And the chair committee, the people that run the meetings, they will discuss they will meet the night of the meeting, that's their main requirement, but in between meetings, they will email each other about, well, how'd it go, what should we do, you know, this person seems to be getting up a lot at every meeting, how do we control this, you know, they just kind of, about how to be better at their jobs, but they're not required to meet again or anything. It should be a reasonable amount of time. If it's unreasonable, no one will want to do